least for online lessons. Okay, it's going to be quite an interesting session because many of us are already practicing online teaching, and we have been doing it for quite a few years. Okay, two to be precise. The thing is, many a times what we do, there could be room for improvement. So what I'm trying to do today is I'm trying to give some basic guides on how do we actually do, or I would say deliver, online lessons in a more effective and efficient manner. So basically how I'm going to break it down, I'm going to break it down into three sections over here. Of course, we have the before, the preparation part, we have the during the lesson, and we have the post lesson. So there are actually a few different levels, or I would say a few different processes for us to ensure an effective and efficient online lesson itself. Okay, so I think what is important for us is to understand key basic terminologies over here. We have this thing called synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is what we are doing now. It is when it is face to face with the service provider. Okay, I'm the service provider, so we are in direct contact. So this is called a synchronous lesson. Okay, and then we have also what you call asynchronous. Asynchronous is where the individual learns in his own time and place. Okay, it could be recorded, it could be MOOCs and so on. Okay, so many a times what we are doing is called blended synchronous. Now, the word blended synchronous, the word blended is to mix. Synchronous means face to face in aspect. So let's say we are having a class where, let's say we have 4 hours, 2 hours Monday, 2 hours on Tuesday. 2 hours Monday, students come to campus. 2 hours on Monday, 2 hours on Monday, students come to campus. 2 hours on Tuesday, students study at home, but we see them virtually. So that is called blended synchronous. Blended synchronous. So it is synchronous, it is still face to face. However, it is blended because of the division in the process itself. One student comes back to campus and so on. Now, the thing is, because many of us in different schools actually practice different methods. Some schools practice it in such a way that students are required physically to be on campus, whereas some have a certain aspect where, hold on, okay, where the students certain days will come into campus, certain days will not come into campus. So it is still a little bit flexible to the individual schools itself. So today I'm going to walk through a guide on how this whole process is going to be. Now, this whole process of today's session, we start at 9 a.m. It's already 9:04, a very beautiful day today. It will take roughly around 3 hours, maybe 2 plus 3 hours. And if it's a break, we'll just plus minus a little bit. Okay, it's going to be quite interactive, so feel free to ask questions if you have anything. All right, now, so today's learning outcome, key factors that affect pre, during, and post online delivery. Now, I'm a strong believer of preparation. If you prepare well, everything will fall in place. So if the preparation is done properly, if there are any hiccups that do happen during the session itself, there will normally be contingent plans that are already available so that it will not be more detrimental to a certain aspect. Okay, and then adapt current online practices to ensure effective outcome. At the end of the day, we must always think it is the learning outcome of the student itself. Okay, the thing is, this thing that I'm going to run through today, it actually evolves. It evolves based on certain aspect. Okay, so it's important for me to actually speak the fundamentals on this whole learning aspect of the student itself in this environment. Okay, so which brings me to the first slide that I'm going to start over here. Now, for me, what has happened is over the past 2 years, during the key aspect or impact that has gone with the virtual learning thing that we are doing in such a way that students have switched from the physical to the virtual. I have gone through challenges I have read, and I've also implemented certain policies and key areas to the institution. So what I've actually came out is this rough model over here. This model that I created, as you can see on the screen over here, is derived to a certain extent to the Sarvakshan model. Okay, now what I've seen is this basic model is this thing called the trifecta of online learning. Now what I've seen is there are key areas that will have a direct impact on students' learning and effectiveness of their learning itself. Now, learning and effectiveness of learning are two separate aspects. Student can learn, but it is not effective. They don't absorb. So what I've came out here is something pretty straightforward, and it puts down that there are three key areas that is under a big umbrella of the shadow factors that impacts how students learn, how we teach, and what are the impacts that make it effective for students to learn itself. So the first thing I would like to emphasize is on staff competency. Now, staff competency is very important. Whether the staff, you and me, whether what we want to do, the word competent here doesn't mean anything to do with qualifications. A person can be very highly qualified, but not competent in their work. Okay, so when we talk about staff competency here, it drives quite a lot on the motivation, the level, the competency of the individual, the initiative to want to do this. Okay, in the mind of the staff is the goal is to ensure students achieve the learning outcome. Okay, LLO. So how competent is it for the staff to be able to, in a way, transform that knowledge that they have to ensure that students absorb? Now, this is important, guys. We as teachers, we as educators, we as facilitators, one key thing that should be in our mind is the way our competency in delivering this to our student. Okay, in our mind, if we want to say ABC, but when we channel ABC to student and student understand it as XYZ, something is wrong. Okay, something is wrong. So could it be that the channel is not effective? Could it be that the way we deliver, we lack competency in the delivery? Could it be we misunderstood the ability of the student? Or could it be if ourselves itself do not understand the fundamental of that particular area itself that makes it channel to student in a mistake, or that makes it wrong itself? So the first thing is the staff competency in this itself, number one. Number two will be the available technology. Here we look at, when you look into a virtual environment, we cannot discount the fact that we rely on this invincible force called the internet. Now, the thing about this is when we talk about technology, internet is only one aspect. Okay, I will emphasize on it as we go along. Internet is only one aspect. Broadband speed is one aspect. Sometimes students may not even have the right tool. Okay, we may not even have the right tool. Our computers, one major complaint that I hear from our colleagues is the ability of our computer may not be in a way sufficient for us to do our job. Okay, so I'm a strong believer that the tools must be correct. You want to hammer a nail into a piece of plywood and you give a person a sponge. Yes, it will eventually go in, but what will happen is the person who is hitting the nail with the sponge will have blood and will suffer. It is stressful, it is difficult, and the process will be very long. All right, but eventually the nail will go in after 2 hours of hitting. So you need to give that person the right tool, which is a hammer. And that hammer must also meet the requirements. If it is a rusted hammer, if it is a hammer that the head is already loose, of course, it will not do its job well. So this is called the availability of technology. Availability of technology is two-pronged. It is us as the person who delivers, and also the other party, which is the student ability to receive. Students' technology doesn't meet requirements. This is called a mismatch. Channel of you send information, they don't receive. They don't receive, they cannot grow. They cannot learn. Number two. The third factor that is critical in online learning is called student readiness. Student readiness is the acceptance, motivation, and competency of the student itself. Acceptance level is basically the student understanding that this is the way to learn. This is the way I want to do. And automatically the barriers that they have in their mind will then diminish. Normal human behavior, anything that is not normally being used or done, there is a high level of rejection. Online learning student, oh sir, we prefer the physical part, you know, when they already say we prefer the physical, we want the physical part, we want this is the best, automatically they will then reject. They will find fault. They will find it difficult. They will find the online learning model not effective. Okay, automatic. This is normal human behavior. Anything new, anything non-common, we reject. When we reject, mentally already got barrier. Student got barrier. Yeah, online class, no good, no good, no good. When no good, he sit inside, the mind already negative, no good lor. So do want to absorb lor, everything find fault. Okay, now this is normal human behavior. Us also, teachers also the same. Earlier on, at the earlier stage, because things were so new, there were a lot of complaints. No good lah, cannot lah, this one lah, that lah. Lamai lah, we wait lah because the lockdown is only 3 weeks, but then it extended. So slowly they accepted. Okay, so this is called the trifecta. So there are 3 key aspects, basically. All right, so we need to make sure that when we are looking at online learning, or I would say blended synchronous or asynchronous learning for our students, the word online in my today's discussion is a mixture of synchronous, asynchronous, blended. Okay, so I'm just using the general term online, like what we are doing now lah. So there must be staff competency. I must know what I am saying. I must have the competency to educate and to communicate with all of you. 2, technology, the what I'm using. Are you having any problems seeing my video and my slides? Is it clear? Or some of you do not have the proper bandwidth and makes it difficult for you to learn. So that is available technology. And 3, readiness of student. I want to regard all my colleagues, all of you today as my students. So it is your readiness. If you say that, coming to Gabriel's session today is online not effective lah. Whatever you learn, whatever you listen, automatically there's going to be a barrier. Okay? 3 factors. Now, all of this, of course, impacted by the shadow factors lah. Shadow factors are external factors that we don't see, but it's influencing us. Okay, it could be retention policies, procedures, favorable rules, organizational policies, and so on. Let me give you one example. Can I have a show of hands of any of our colleagues, or just say yes. Who's from Penang? Penang friends, just type in. Say me. Wendy, me. Yes, very good. Dr. Chia, me. Good. Lagi? 2 orang. Lagi ada? Penang punya kawan. Okay. I think we have lah. And I know we have. I see the list. And then we also have our friends from UG. Now, Penang colleagues, your computer, let's say you are doing online learning. Suddenly you want to install a software because you find it very good for student. Can you do it? Can or not? Can you install software on your own in your computer? Wendy, Dr. Chia, are you able to? Let's say you are doing online teaching, and suddenly you find, hey, this software, I want to use this one graphic very good, and this will help my marketing class. Are you able to install? Am I missing something or what? Yes or no? I see you're typing. So far, never use big software. No need to use big software, but can lah. Sometimes you want to update things. That means your computer. I know Penang colleagues can. I speak to my Penang colleagues can. Now, policy over in UG, we cannot. Ours is sealed. Okay, we cannot. Okay, we have to go to ISD. So picture this. Today, I'm doing a session with you all. Even being head of department, my laptop cannot install things on, So I actually have some certain important software that I want to use that maybe is good to teach my students. You guys are my students, man. But shadow factors do not allow me to do it because of policies. Now, these policies are true. The reason why, LOL, don't LOL. Okay. Now, these policies are there because they want to guide or they want to ensure that our system don't simply install so got no virus and so on, which is true because this is called this is a policy and understanding that there could be an issue. But also look into how will it impact us as teachers, as educators, because we may need this in an ad hoc manner because technology changes on a daily basis to further enhance our teaching. This is just one example of shadow forces. Okay, these are certain impacts on shadow forces that influence the way we do things. We may have a good idea, good method, but we cannot due to regulations. Okay, other shadow forces will be like work policies, principles, overwork because emphasize too much on academic or on administrative manners of the lecturers. How can you then further increase your competency? So what I'm trying to say, or when I develop this model, this very simple model, is because I see these issues with my colleagues. I observe and I see this issue with my colleagues. Okay, and I find that these factors are holding us back to be even better. Okay, however, because of this, we also need to understand that students play a very important role and students' readiness to accept online learning is critical, or this blended learning style itself. So when the student comes in, we need to prepare them, make sure that the way that they think is basically an acceptance of this method of learning. Understand? So it is important for us to start off the whole discussion with this learning model itself. I will eventually write a paper lah, okay? Long time lah. It will take me a lot of time lah. I'm very lazy one, okay? Next, so what we are going to do, we are going to look at the pre-event. The word event I'm going to use, the event is the actual thing that is happening. This is called an event. I am doing a training with all of you and the event is the training. All right. So pre-event, before the event, this is what preparation we need to do. Live event, the process itself, what I should do, and the post-event, after the event, what kind of follow-up should be done to ensure effectiveness and efficiency. So that is what we are going to look at. All right, good. Thumbs up, good. Can? Ikut? Boleh lah. Friday, man. This is Friday. Now, so we are going to start it off with the pre-delivery checklist. Okay, the pre-delivery. So before you deliver, before the event, like we do anything lah, we need to have a checklist to make sure everything is there. It's like when we travel, right? For those of you who are traveling overseas or whatever, you got checklist, right? Phone charger taken, international adapter taken, passport taken, money taken. So you have a checklist. Okay, some people even, okay, instant noodles, 5 packets taken. Check. Why do we have this checklist? We have this checklist because we want to ensure that when we are at the event or at the place itself, we can meet what we want. We want to charge our phone, so we have our charger over there because we know these are the things that are required. Okay, so this checklist that I created over here is basically a general snapshot of what is required. Number one, first thing we always do is review lesson learning outcome, LLO. Now, so here is what you want to see. You want to see your LLO, lesson learning outcome. That particular lesson, what is the learning outcome? Now, always remember, we got CLO, course learning outcome and lesson learning outcome is different. Your subject or your course may have 3 to 4 course learning outcome. But individual week or individual lesson, you have your lesson learning outcome. When we look at delivery, we are looking at the lesson. Okay, not looking at the whole course. We are looking at that lesson. So this week, minggu ini, hari ini, this is what I want to achieve. So it could be, is it something to do with science? Is it science? Is it business? Is it language? Is it history? You know? So what is your outcome, lesson learning outcome of this particular lesson? The reason is because different learning outcome may have different delivery methods. You get it? Different learning outcome will have different delivery methods. If you are teaching language and your outcome is very much today, it is on public speaking, then the way you deliver will also be different. You get involvement of the student to speak back. If today is on grammar, written, then your outcome, your activities that you do will require students to do writing. You see, activities have a direct impact to the outcome. Okay, if you want to see behavior and description of behavior using verbs and adjectives in English. So basically, you may want to show a video. Then after showing the video, you ask student to describe what are the key verbs of the action of the person that you have seen in that video. I still remember English lessons. They like to use Mr. Bean. All right. Why? Because his behavior, his mannerisms allowed for this very, in a way, enhanced description of words used by the student. Look at the way his behavior and so on. So I've actually observed people, teachers, lecturers using Mr. Bean videos, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, then after that, get the students to describe what they actually saw. Why? Because the lesson learning outcome was on that. So we use video. Okay. So based on your lesson learning outcome, you may have different activities. Number 1. Number 2, review lesson learning outcome. Look at your lesson learning outcome. Skills domain to be achieved by the student. What kind of skill? As I said, if it's presentation skill, what kind of things do you do? If it is a written or writing skill, what kind of things? If it's interpersonal skill, if it is leadership skills, or all of this, what kind? So as you can see, this picture I can see here, is it presentation skill? Is it group work? You want this particular lesson learning outcome, the skill or the domain that you're looking at is on interpersonal skill. Interpersonal means between individuals. So you may have activities that enhance and be able to identify these interpersonal skills within students. So even in group work like that, in class, you can do it. Okay, what you can do is actually break the group down, let them do discussion and so on, and then come back. That could be. It could be practical skills. Then you think, Gabe, how to do practical skill? I can show you practical skill. We do origami. All right, origami, practical skill. I take a piece of paper and I say, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to fold. Paper cannot see. Inilah problem. We are going to fold a boat or a plane. This is practical skill. So first of all, top down, 45 degrees. So after that, students can do. So practical skill online also possible, depending on what you are looking at lah. And also it could be cognitive skill, thinking skill. So you need to think your lesson learning outcome. What do you want to achieve? Number 2. Now, following, okay, number 3. Once you look at it already, my advice is this number 3. I always divide the lesson into smaller packets. Now, I use the word packet. Some people like to use the word sections, units, and so on. I use the word packet. It is like, if you look at this pie over here, this is the lesson of the day. Today's lesson is this whole pie. I break it down into 6 key aspects. So for example, let's say week 4, my lesson is, I used to teach events management. So I use this as an example. Sponsoring an event. So under sponsoring an event, there are key things which I need to make sure that students understand. All right, in that week. All right, so it could be packet 1. What is sponsorship? Trends influencing the trends in sponsorship. Then all of these things, this is what the students must learn. So what I do is, when you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ayo, pening, sakit kepala. Got 7 things students need to learn. How to make sure they can learn online. Break it down into smaller packets. Same thing. Today, our session, I break it down into 3 packets. Pre, during, and post. Okay, so packet 1, what is sponsorship? Now, packet 2 and packet 3. Break it down into small packets. Once you see things in smaller packets, then it is easier for us to understand and easier for us to structure and design the whole delivery for the student. Okay, it is easier. So let's look at packet 1. What is sponsorship? Trends influencing the trends in sponsorship. So that is packet number 1. Okay, so now I will, in my mind, how do I get students to understand this packet one? What method shall I use? Let's look at it. So that comes to part four. Point four. Design activities for each packet. Every packet you design activities. Okay, so I want to explain to you this thing called tell, show, do, apply technique. Okay, now tell, show, do, apply. Basically, this method of teaching and learning is very popular in the nursing field. Okay, this is, I think, in the 80s or 70s or 80s, in where it was introduced, where what they say is this: if you tell somebody something, the absorption of that individual will be, let's say, 15 to 20%. You show that person, the absorption and the understanding increases to 30 to 40%. You do with the student, you do with them, it goes up to 60 to 70%. And finally, you apply. After doing, you tell the student you do it on your own. Then it goes up as high as 80 to 90%. It may not reach 100%, but the learning goes higher. The more involvement that the student has on that particular area, the higher the absorption the student will get. So when we look at just telling alone, which normally we do in lectures, then you may find that the absorption level is actually lower, comprehension level. So we may want to show and do to different aspects. Okay, so what we look at here is this. Let's take, for example, packet one. Packet one, let's say my lesson for 3 packets is a 2-hour lesson. Packet one, I only use half an hour. Okay, half an hour. So what is my goal for packet one? I need to emphasize on what is sponsorship and trends, influencing trends in sponsorship. So I'm thinking, what is the best way for me to do this? Sponsorship. So I'm thinking, yeah, it's an intro. So what is sponsorship? Maybe I can find a video from YouTube. So the video could be very interesting to catch the attention of the student. Wow, this is what sponsorship is. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Mercedes-Benz. Example. Okay, so my activity for the first packet is I will use video and a lecture. Because there will be a short area on the lecture, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, because to emphasize on the key theories of the must know in that particular packet itself. Okay, so this is called designing activities for each packet. Okay, so now we have 3 packets, so each one you design an activity. The first packet could be a video and a short lecture. The second packet could be a group discussion. Yes, a group discussion. And the third packet could be a lecture. So when you see that 2-hour session that you have in class, the whole journey will be hills and valleys, different kinds of experiences that the students will get. It may not be just a lecture alone. It could be video, lecture, group discussion, then after that, short presentation and another lecture. Or some lecturers like to do the continuation of the lecture, then a short discussion and the quiz and so on. It's up to you because you are the sifu of your particular subject. So you know what is best. Okay, understand, guys? Until section 4, part 4, understand? So this is what it is, design activities for each packet. Any questions? Okay. All right. Now, next, after you design activities, number 5, ensure achievement of each packet before proceeding to the next packet. So you will need to now, in each packet, you will have your sub goals. So the first packet, I'm going to go back a little bit here, is you need to make sure students understand what is sponsorship. So sponsorship could be a definition, and you need to know what are the trends. Students need to know trends influencing the trends in sponsorship. These are the 2 things in the first packet. So what you need to do is, upon finishing the first packet, you need to ensure each packet is achieved and students understand before you go to the next one. So what do? What you need to do is you need to get feedback from student, whether they understand or not. How do you get this feedback from student? So here is where formative feedback is critical. you may need to use a method of assessment like Kahoot, Quizzy, questioning, and so on. Like for me, this now, I just did simple formative feedback with all of you. What I ask you is this, guys, we already finished until part 4. Any questions? The reason why I dare do this to you is because you guys are mature individuals that if you have questions, you will ask. Okay? All right? Yeah, definitely. You guys are, my colleagues. You will ask questions. Gabe, I don't understand this. I understand that. So I know the audience is such. But for our students, you ask them any questions? Definitely no questions. So you may want to do a simple test, a simple formative feedback. Okay, so this is using Kahoot or something like that, or Quizzy, and what you want to ask the must know, the important things that is important in the first packet, that must know in the first packet. So you want to make sure students understand. If you put a gauge lah, if you do a Kahoot or a Quizzy test and understanding is only 75%, less than 75%, then you want to repeat certain key theories because you know 25% of your class don't understand. It is normal, so you want to do that. So you want to make sure they understand packet 1 before you go to packet 2. The reason is this. We are lecturers. We lecturers, educators, facilitators, we are like stand-up comedians. See, I put that down. We are like stand-up comedians, Now, if you look at stand-up comedians, people who tell jokes in front of public, you know what is most important for them? Feedback, If they tell a joke and people don't laugh, in their mind, they're thinking something is wrong. Either the joke is not funny, or the level of the audience do not comprehend the joke. So when we teach to our students, it's also the same. For me, I thrive on feedback from the student. When I teach a group of 70, 80 students, I look at their facial expression. I look at their body language. If majority of the students look at me and nod their head when I say something, it tells me there is understanding. If majority of the students look at me like that, if they look at me like that, then I know something is wrong. The frown on the face gives me cues that maybe they lack understanding. That is formative feedback. Formative feedback is feedback that tells us about the progress of the student. Summative feedback is feedback that has a summative assessment is the assessment that has a direct impact to their final grade. Formative is to make sure that the students are on track. So basically, students, audience as moderators. So students give us the feedback, okay, to see whether they understand. So if you're doing a virtual class and you have 30 students in your class, how do you get feedback? If they don't on their video or if they don't ask questions, do a simple Kahoot. 5 questions, key theories of the first part. Then you see how many people understand. So if question 1, understanding 98%, 100%, question 2, question 3 that you ask, one important part, and only 50% of the class got it right, you stop and then you emphasize on that. Then you say, students, I see that question number 3 here, we were talking about a sponsorship and why is it important? I see that 50% of you only got it right. Now let me further explain, or let me explain, so that all the students meet back on track on packet 1. Okay, so this is the 5th part. Okay, make sure they understand before they go to the next one. Now, the reason why you need to do this is because if students don't understand the first part and you go to the second part, most of the time, second part is related to the first part, definitely. So if you really don't understand first part, you go second part, there's going to be a higher chance of students not understanding and also not motivated. I don't understand the first part. I go second part, I don't understand what teacher is saying. Because I don't understand what teacher is saying, I go and play my phone. I play my phone or I don't pay attention. I'm thinking about lunch and so on. This is human nature. Human nature is like that. Okay? So it's like we walk into a cinema after the movie has started for half an hour. No head. Okay, you don't understand what's going on. What is the pre? Certain movies today, like if you're watching Transformers, no difference, like just bang bang bing bing bong bong. But certain movies which require thought, at the initial part you don't understand already. Okay, then it doesn't work. How many of you watched the movie Death on the Nile? Agatha Christie, but now it actually came out. Death on the Nile. It is a movie. No time. find time, must watch, must watch. Interesting, seriously. I like watching movies, and I find it nice. The first half an hour, you miss the first half an hour. After you watch, you garu kepala. How come like that one? Because the first half an hour creates the foundation. The foundation, death on the Nile. Okay. Now, so number 6. So number 5, we already talked about ensure achievement of each packet before proceeding to the next packet. Number 6, achieving LLO goals, lesson learning outcome. LLO can be planned by duration. A student may take a week to complete the LLO. This will comprise of 2 hours face-to-face lesson and work given on the LMS. So when we do pre-delivery checklist, we also need to understand. Sometimes if we are running a class which is both synchronous and asynchronous, then the lesson learning outcome can be at the end of the week. I give you an example. Let's say I am teaching marketing. Marketing this week, I'm supposed to cover chapter 3. Okay, so I normally in the physical environment, I have 4 hours. Okay, to cover chapter 3. But now we do mix, blended here, there, and where, and I have a very good method. I have lecture 2 hours, and student go to learning management system, open learning on their own whenever they go to learn, to follow up. Some students like to study at night, it's up to them. But at the end of the week, Friday, they will achieve this LLO of chapter 3. Can, no issue, no issue. Because if you look into the virtual world of learning, especially when now with MOOC, MOOCs, and also ODL, or online distance learning, learning doesn't have to be physically in class. Some of you teaching master students sometimes don't come for class. Sometimes the classes is at home. They learn on their own and so on. So what I'm trying to say here is when we do our checklist, what is important for us is the achievement of the students' lesson learning outcome. Student must achieve. However, it doesn't mean they achieve in the class alone. It can be achievement on their own when they learn on their own. This is taking things forward. This is taking things to the next level. Okay, so that is what we are looking at here. So I am a teacher. I am the lecturer. Monday, I got 2 hours class. I teach the basic thing. Then after that, I ask student, you need to go and do your work online. This is the thing you need to read. This is on your own. Okay. But you as a facilitator, you need to make sure student achieve that goal in that week. So what do you do? How do you ensure student really achieve their work or not? So that is where you need to set something. It could be student by Friday 5 p.m. I need you to write a short reflection, 100 words, 150 words, or something on your learning, on your key understanding of this chapter. Something. There must be something for you to gauge students' understanding. It could be on Friday, students need to send in an essay. Students do a simple test, anything. I'm not saying you have to set tests every week. No, there could be many different ways of assessing students' comprehension, but that needs to be done. It could be autonomous, online. You can give an online test marked by its own using multiple choice and so on, but you need to gauge students' lesson learning outcome. Okay, because the future I see, what we are seeing today, Edu 4.0, this, that, Industry 4.0, the whole aspect of the physical aspect of doing class is a dying trend. Okay, what I'm doing now, I'm teaching you all, I'm educating you all on these concepts. My job, I believe, as a TNL person, is going to be redundant very, very soon. Okay, very soon. I'm not saying immediate. I still got job at the moment, but it's very soon. Why? When students start learning at a higher level, when technology meets the neuro adaptation of people itself, technology now is slowly reaching artificial intelligence, big data, this and that and whatnot. It is only going to be higher. And when they reaches a stage, learning is going to be everywhere. It's like what they call the metaverse. Learning is going to be everywhere. The whole formal aspect could die off. However, we still need to assess students because at the end of the day, OBE, outcome-based education, is derived from the outcome of the student upon completing a particular lesson at a period of time. So we need to still assess outcome. You see now, guys? So we still need to assess. Their learning can be in many ways, but the outcome still needs to be assessed. So however it is, we cannot confer a parchment, an award, or degree if we did not evaluate the outcome properly. But that doesn't mean the learning needs to be rigid. No, learning can be any way because we want to assess the outcome. Even the key theories of outcome-based education. Okay, William Spady. Remember, I talked about this. William Spady. He states that in learning, it is not the process. The process, because all of us are different. Some take half an hour to learn. Some of your students so good, guys. You say one time, they know. Some students you need to say 10 times. Okay, but the goal is the lesson learning outcome. Some need 3 days to learn. Some 1 day. But what is important is the learning. Okay, all right. So even when at the end of the day, what does the degree tell you? A parchment tells you that this person has met certain level of comprehension and competency. The degree or master's or PhD or whatever, or that shit doesn't say that this person has gone through class every week. Okay, going through class is the process only. Okay, so that is where the problem is at times. Too much of us educators emphasize on the process. We spend so much time logging in on hours. I do my 4 hours, I'm done. Yay, can go back and sleep. Doing 4 hours of teaching in that chapter doesn't mean achievement of outcome. Okay, I'm just stressing a little bit on that. Okay. Now, then number seven, understand the level of your audience. When you do pre-delivery checklist, all of the things you set, you need to understand the level of your audience. Different level of audience would require different methods of delivery, synchronous versus asynchronous. Basic theories and concepts is like this. In Malaysia, we have MQF level. Alright, MQF level, tahap 1 hingga tahap 8. Tahap 1, 2, 3 is certificate, tahap 4 is diploma, 5 higher diploma, 6 degree, 7 masters, 8 PhD. You guys are understanding, right? This is called MQF level. Okay, so basic academic theories is the lower the level, tahap 1, 2, 3 dan 4, the higher the synchronous is going to be. They are new, they are lower level. You may need more synchronous. Show them, hello students, I am here. Tahap 7 dan 8, master's level, PhD, doctorate level. If they don't see teacher, so can one, They are supposed to be independent learners. Technically speaking, I'm not saying masters no need class, got class. But the class doesn't need to be as rigid in duration as if it is a lower level. Because lower level they need. All right, the higher you go, the higher you the what they call it, the learning ability grows. All right, so when we look into understand the level of your audience, it is not all of you teach degree students. Some of you teach masters and certificate students. Some of you teach PhD and also master students. So you need to understand there is no one size fits all method for designing your lesson on an online blended method. No, you need to understand the audience. Put in mind the outcome. What is the outcome you want to achieve? And then you adapt accordingly. Okay, all right. 8, pace yourself. All right, you need to pace yourself. Doing an online lesson is more tiring than a physical lesson. Why? Because you always guess whether you're doing the right thing. You see, when I am doing now, I'm assuming that my audience understands me. I'm quite lucky because all of you, my colleagues over here, your level of comprehension and understanding is actually much higher than students, of course. But when you teach online for 50 students, and students don't on their video, they don't ask questions, and you keep on going, in your mind, you are thinking, do I need to repeat this? Do I need to emphasize this? Do they understand this? There's no feedback. Am I doing the correct thing? And it makes you very tired, you know. Correct, right, guys? You understand, right? Is this correct? Are you feeling the same thing? All right, huh? That's very true. Okay. That is how it is. And you will find that this, you know, when we educators, we teach in a class context, the feedback from the student drives us in different angles and journeys. If we see more understanding, students understand already, you give student more when we cover. You cover certain things because you know they are good students, you give them more knowledge. You see students not so good, you emphasize or you repeat certain key areas. That is in a physical class context. But in a virtual class, you are guessing. And guesswork, because of lack of uncertainty, tired lah, you're very tired. Okay, you're very tired. So you need to pace yourself. Okay. A 2-hour online face-to-face lesson will be more tiring, strenuous for both lecturer and student than a traditional 2-hour classroom lesson. Yes, it is. It is very tiring. Okay, even students paying attention, staring at the screen. Wow, headache, you know. And let's look at the screen. If a student got 3 classes a day, 3 kali 2, 6 jam, wah mati yo. Headache, seriously. I've done training morning and afternoon 1 day. Oh, yo, after that, whole night pancit already. Okay, so advisable maximum. I don't even say should be 1 hour, but you should not go more than an hour. You should not go unless your audience is gonna force them on the camera. Betul. Okay. So, question here. So, master students, how many hours? No, doesn't need to be hours. We don't look at hours only, guys. We look at learning outcome. We look at learning outcome. You use different strategies. Okay, you may have a 2-hour lesson in your calendar, in your timetable, but you may teach half an hour, you do video, you do discussion, then you teach it. Depending on the audience, depending on the reaction and the level of adaptation of the audience, you can mix and match accordingly. Yes, blended, in a way blend. But always remember, don't blend for the sake of blending, but blend to achieve learning outcome. For lower level students, like let's say certificate students, there may be more lectures, more lectures. Nengok student ini this one is equal to this one. Let me explain to you because they're lower level. In their mind is knowledge and comprehension. Bloom's taxonomy level 1 and 2. Level 1 and 2 kena diajar, must be taught. You see, not lower level. Master level, application synthesis. Application means use knowledge. You don't need to teach knowledge. They already got knowledge. They want to use the knowledge. Synthesis is create knowledge. That one you cannot teach. Create knowledge, student to create by using the theory. You are the sounding board. Sounding board means you give feedback to the student at master's level. Maybe it's good, maybe not so good. I find this area could be. Why can you give? Because you are supposed to be the sifu, the lecturer, the teacher. So you give the feedback. Okay. That is why when we look at this is important for us to understand, as what I stressed earlier on, the level of the student. What kind of student you're looking at. Okay. Now, virtually 1 hour session advisable. Not more than that. That is already very jalat already, I always say. Okay. Strenuous already. Guys, I've already gone 49 minutes, How many of you could really pay attention? It's not easy. I know. Of course, I try my very best. I'm very animated. You see my hand fly up, fly down one. Why? Because no choice. Online, I need to do this. Because the more senses you use, the higher chance of students understanding. If I just say the more senses you use, the higher chance of student understanding, students don't see the emphasis that is important. But when I move and I say understanding like this, there is visual emphasis of the importance of that statement. That is how students learn. The visual emphasis is important. The more senses you use, the better it becomes. Okay, I will explain later as we go along. So that is number 8. This is why I want to explain. Plan to use as many senses as possible. When you teach, use as many senses. Currently, I'm only using 2. You guys are looking at me visual, and you are looking at me sight as visual and sound. So because I can only use 2, I want to emphasize on the visual part. So I'm more animated to further enhance. The more I can use, the better it becomes. You may ask, Gabe, how to use smell lah? Smell can in class? Can. Hospitality lecturers, you are doing basic commodity class with your students. Next week, I am doing, let's say, I'm teaching basic commodity class. In hospitality, we have commodities. Commodities are the basic items. Okay, so you want to explain to student, if you want to describe, example, garlic, the taste of garlic, how it goes. So you can tell student, next week, all of you, please bring a clove of garlic. Please bring a clove of garlic in class. So during the class, you can say, now I want you students, break the garlic in your hand. Now, with smell, what kind of smell? Where does it hold? Does it hold at the back of your throat? Now, put it in your mouth, taste, okay? That is what it means. That is the taste of, because you want to describe to students at lower level. Commodity is normally year 1 diploma or certificate culinary students. You want to describe to them, because our students, they know what garlic is, but they do not know how to describe the taste. Describing taste is very difficult unless you experience. So this is what it is, smell, and they will learn forever. You try, all of you, my friends, you try crush garlic. You smell and you taste, it will linger with you for the rest of your life. You will never forget. That is how strong senses are. The more you use, the better it becomes. Okay? All right. So try our very best. All right. Now, for those of you who are teaching drama, who are teaching sound, music, more on the hearing part. Now I'm using hearing, but you can explain to students the different octaves. Level, then you play video. This is what level, this is what level. You see, this is how it is. So when we look at using senses, we as educators, guys, creative a bit. Sometimes we have to be creative a bit. Okay, I'm not saying all subjects or courses can use this. Some memang cannot. So if you cannot and you only can use 2, like not what I'm doing with you all, then you may want to emphasize on the side part. Be more animated, show, sample, what does it mean? Okay, show, what does it mean? It's like, if you may be amazed, if you want to explain to them, okay, student, the color is violet or magenta. Students don't understand, sir, what is magenta? Never hear before. You mustn't neglect the fact some students may not have the vocabulary or the understanding. So you show them, this is what the color is. This is what a dark blue is, and so on. Description, visual, show, then they can absorb. The more senses you use, the more effective learning is going to be. Okay? Boleh? Boleh? See, when I say boleh, I thumb. This is called reinforcing. Reinforcement. Then understand and select the right tools for your audience. When you do virtual, select the right tools. All right, example, your students, see the students in the middle there? So the question, they got laptop or not? Maybe no laptop? Cham lo. If students only going to follow, half your class following you using your mobile phone, how? What do you do? Okay, what is the level of broadband speed? Okay, if you have a lot, you want students to click here, click there, please go to the YouTube video, this video, and it's very big files. Okay, students, I want all you to download the file now, and your file is 400 megabyte or 500 megabyte. Ayo, don't do it in class, do it before. Tell students going to open learning, click download the file 1 day before so that they are ready. If you want students to download there and then itself, don't. Okay, it's going to be difficult. Okay, not many students using phone, not many have unlimited plan. So it could be limited. Now, we as educators, we need to create the environment. Today, students really understand. Laptops is compulsory. Laptops are no more luxury. They are necessity. Internet, mobile phone, this is necessity. No more luxury. Buying a phone, using a phone is a necessity. Okay, so to a certain extent, If your class so happen you're teaching a group that the students, ma'am, kita semua tak ada punya, we really don't have laptop or anything, only got phone and we got not much data, use WhatsApp to teach. Yes, communicate students using WhatsApp, send files using WhatsApp. It could be learning, teaching using WhatsApp. I know at the initial stage, when MCO started, there were certain 1 or 2 classes where the lecturer actually told me, yep, there were certain classes I actually use WhatsApp to teach the student because they couldn't follow. There was no bandwidth. A lot of them were having difficulty because they were staying in hostel, and so on. So they actually use WhatsApp. So this is called understanding your audience and choosing the right tool. At times, you may need to. Okay, but I feel today in 2022, after the 2 years that I've gone through, not much issue. These things are the norm already. Laptop are the norm. But of course, what was shown in Facebook about the lecturer belittling the student because they have no laptop, it shows to us that there are still individuals who do not have laptop, which we mustn't neglect, nor must we say that they should. We don't know. Everybody have their own financial situation. Okay, so we need to understand that. So this is the checklist. Housekeeping. Make sure students got, you also got, you yourself also got. Okay, make sure you have your laptop. Make sure your laptop got sound. Make sure your laptop can play video. Make sure it's updated to the correct firmware. Make sure you have your Zoom, Skype, WebEx, or whatever, and everything is working perfectly. Why do I say this? I got so many calls and emergency from lecturers. Gabe, I want to run this class. I need to download this, but now cannot. I cannot go back to campus. How? Because we cannot download, ours cannot install in UG, so we need IS to help. But since during that time it was they couldn't go back to campus, we couldn't install on our own, so there were a lot of issues. All right, so now we can go back to campus, so not much issue. Any problem, go back to ISD. But who knows, in the future something may happen again. Okay, so you need to check on your own. So every time before I do training, guys, what I do is every morning I'll check my slides, I'll check my video, I'll check everything to make sure it runs perfectly. All right, then that's to make sure that 9 a.m. sharp I can run my training. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, and also housekeeping, check your environment. When you're doing training, always check your environment. Also, when you do, this is a good checklist. Make sure your temperature is not so hot. Guys, if you are teaching, it is hot. You try doing 2 hours class when it's hot and humid, you die. You yourself sweating, wiping yourself, you also cannot perform well. So make sure it is in a comfortable environment. This is very important, let me tell you. Sometimes I get backache sitting on chair, sit too long. So you got to make sure you're comfortable. For me, I have 2 screens. That's why sometimes I look here, you see me looking over here, right? It's not because I'm not giving eye contact with you, no. It's because I am looking at the side screen. Now also because, why am I looking down? Because all of your names are at the bottom. So I'm trying my best to give you eye contact. But now I find out I should be looking straight because that is where my camera is. So this is called your own housekeeping. Your environment, lighting, make sure not so noisy. Lighting is important, and distractions. Okay, when you're having your class, make sure there are no distractions. You may want to tell your family members, guys, mommy, daddy is having classes now. Okay, so for the next 1 hour, no disturbance unless it's an emergency. All right, because you want to make sure that you're focused in that lesson itself. All right, okay, so and the final one, number 13. I like number 13. Relax. It's not going to be easy. We know it's not going to be easy, but you need to relax. And the show must go on. No? The show must go on. The lesson must go on. But you need to be relaxed in your own environment to ensure that both parties or everybody benefits from it. Okay? Ta-da! So that is the 13. All right. See, just nice. My timing just nice is 10 a.m., 1 hour. I've taken 1 hour. That is the maximum. Intermission. Intermission means this is a break time. Take 10 minutes, guys. At 10:10, we will come back. For those of you who can remember, you know what's intermission, right? Last time when you used to go to cinema, if the movie is too long, how many of you watch Gandhi? Yes, popcorn time. Kingsley, Gandhi, 3 hours. So last time in cinema, because it's too long, halfway through, they want to change reel. When they change the reel, it's intermission. So that's the time you go toilet, buy popcorn, or so on. Normally 5 to 10 minutes. This is called intermission. So now you got 10 minutes. All right, guys, go take a break. Hello, guys. Hello. Right. Okay. Hello, hello. Yes, back. Yay. How many of you are on campus or not on campus? I am not on campus today because today my whole day is virtuals. I have a training in the morning and in the afternoon I have an audit. So whole day is virtual. So I am at home today. Oh, Jasmine, you are on campus. How busy not today, Jasmine, campus? How's the weather over in Grand Marie today? Jasmine? Weather okay or not? I'm in Kuala Lumpur. Today is very hot in the city. Oh, today you look out, no joke. Sometime rain crazy, but now this afternoon is bright sun, hot, exactly. Whew. Very hot in Penang also, but Penang, you're lucky, hot, go out, got nice chendol. We all don't have. Ah. For, just taking it off the topic. Last year December, I actually went for a holiday in Penang. This time holiday lah, never go to campus. All right. It was nice. It was so fun. Food was fabulous. For many of you know, I'm actually ex-hospitality. So for me, everywhere I go, mau cari makan punya. So I actually went around one day. Traffic jam was not so bad lah, Wendy. I clever. I parked my car in the hotel. Okay, the Wembley. Then after that, everywhere want to go Kialo or take Grab. Because the thing about Penang is once you park there, everywhere you want to go, like in near my hotel, Jan Wembley side is the Gurney, not Gurney, what they call Komta. So Komta behind there, easy to jalan. Jalan. So it's not so bad. So I learned one thing when I was there. We wanted to go to this supposed to be the oldest nasi kandar shop, Hamid. I can't remember the name. I can't remember exactly. So as we were walking by, the queue was 2 to 3 shops long. Seriously, and no guarantee you can find a seat inside. So what we did is we went back to the hotel. We called Grab. Grab took half an hour, send the food, same from the same restaurant. I hope it's from the same restaurant. Add in the hotel. See, so that is looking at a problem and looking at a different solution to the problem itself. Of course, it is different because one of the key experience is eating in that restaurant itself, eating in that restaurant Hamidi or something, I can't remember. But at least we had the experience of like nearly 90%. Okay, tapao, Grab sent to the hotel, half an hour. Yeah, so much easier. So it is actually quite fun. For those of you who have not gone to Penang for a long time, please do contribute to local tourism economy. Everybody needs the money to circulate, and that'll be good for all of us. All right, now I wanted to show you this. As you can see, this is the headlines today of Malay Mail. Malay Mail headlines, as you can see. UCSI points to country's transition to endemic as students allege being forced to attend exams physically amid COVID-19. Interesting article, guys. Interesting article, and how one of our partners, one of our friends, UCSI is our, wait, I want to copy and put it in the chat just to just in case you all want to read. It is an interesting article. It actually shows very much one of our Institute of Higher Learning Education friends and the problem that they are facing with their students. So we are actually caught in this situation, I would say. At one end, on the 1st of April, government already said, please come back. You can start running. I have seen the guidelines. The guidelines said we can run our classes as how we used to already. The physical distancing part was not stated already. However, it is encouraged to still maintain physical distancing. encourage. They have put the responsibility to us. Okay, so not only institutions, anywhere else, any place and so on. Even certain places, like example, I was at Watson's just a few days ago. No need to scan my Sejahtera. Yes, I was at Mid Valley, Watson. I walked in, I was finding for the my Sejahtera scan. The lady told me, tak payah sekarang, masuk. So there's a bit of a confusion in all of us. Government has allowed, but then students are worried to go back because there are cases. So how? What do we do? So we are also in this situation over here at UG and also in Penang. We are opening, we are saying, come back, guys, come back. I know we are running physical, but are we at that stage of saying now everything is physical, everything across the board, that you have to come back your exams and so on, unless we do 30% blended, which is good. That is our policy, 30% blended. But the others, you must come back physical. How will our students take it? Okay, so now we need to understand what is in the mind of our target audience, which is our students. Okay, many a times we always say, young people, they are not worried one. They are okay to come back. But this article, this simple article, which is the headlines in Malay Mail, says otherwise. There's still a bit of a big concern by the young on coming back and so on. So for us, as the school, as the institution, the decisions that we need to make is not clear-cut. If it is clear-cut, if the government say, okay, sekarang everything open, this is how it is, easy, we can tell our student. But they say, you guys are open. However, physical distancing is still encouraged, and they put the responsibility to us. So there is a little bit of a challenge over there. If physical distancing is still doing, our classroom, 100 packs, can become 50 packs. So most of our classrooms and lecture theatres, much smaller now. So there's going to be a big issue. If we open back up full, there's going to be an issue of resources. So I just want, the reason why I put this up is just for us to understand that in our session today, which is on online learning and delivery, and many of us think that, oh, we are coming back to the physical part. I dare not say. We have Omicron, we have this, we have that, we just won't know. Of course, for me, I would love to say that everything is back to what it used to. I cannot use the word normal because there's no such thing as normal anymore. But it's important for us to understand that it can swing both ways. Okay? And because it can swing both ways, anyway, anytime, it is important for us to be ready. It is important for us to be ready to be able to take to adapt to whatever changes that comes forth. Okay, so intermission over. So now we are going to start with the next one, which is during the lesson. So we have already done the pre. What are the 13 things that you should look into? I hope it was clear. Now is during the lesson. Now, during the lesson, I like to use Robert Gagne's 9 level of learning. Now, for those of you who read academic pedagogy, Gagne's 9 level, pretty good lah. I would say it's pretty good. It creates a very, very strong foundation of how we should deliver during the lesson itself. Okay, and you would see that most of you are already practitioners. Okay, a lot of you are already very, very good practitioners, So sometimes when whatever you do, you read the theory back again. This is what I'm doing. Okay. So the one in red is actually Gagne's. The one in black is something that I wrote before I put in Gagne's. After I wrote the steps, then I said, come, let's integrate Gagne's theory. And I found that it actually blends in very well. So the first one is start with an enthusiastic greet to students. Don't just start lessons immediately. It's always important to say very good morning, hi, create that atmosphere, create that wanting to learn with the student. All right. Students' mind is like they need to warm up. So it is important sometimes to discuss or to talk about actual things that are happening. So sometimes I will normally encourage my friends and my colleagues to relate things to the student. Like for business school, it is important for you all to know maybe things such as like what are the current impacts and changes to the business sector. What is happening? What are the big news? Who is taking over who? Sapura's case, this and that, stock market or whatever. Things that will relate to the student in their interest. So students will say, wow, even better if you can put in situations and cases that is related to the current lesson. All right, that particular day's lesson itself. Okay, so if it's hospitality, then it's important to say, guys, last week, you know or not, one of our colleagues, ex-lecturer of UOW Malaysia KDU, Chef Darren, his restaurant, Dewakan, was awarded top 50 restaurant in Asia. Wow. So the culinary students can relate. This is called relating to the discussion. Relate itself. So in Gagne theory, under one of the first of the 9 is gaining attention. Same, gaining attention. Get the attention of the audience. Number 1. Number 2, highlight LLO. Okay, students, today this is what we are going to learn. This is what we're going to learn today. So why is it important? So students in their mind already know, hari ini, this is what we're going to achieve. This is what we're going to do. This is what we are going to learn. Okay, so they know at the end of the day, this is what I will get. This is important. Okay, so similar to Gagne's informing learners of their objective, expectancy. This is what to expect to learn today. This is what you are expected to learn today. So in their mind, they know what to get, what they are going to get. Okay. Number 3, after they know already, so they are anxious and enthusiastic, wanting to learn. Recap previous lesson. Yes, this is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, last week, what we learned in our last lesson, this was what we covered. Okay, ask questions here, state the key point of the previous lesson, review on questions assignment given. Last week, we were talking about this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, these were the key points of last week. The reason is very important is this. This week's lesson, this is what you want to do. When you recap last week, students can relate. Oh, last week we did about that. This week is linked to last week. And also when you recap last week's work, in their mind, suddenly yes, I remember. Automatically retention sets in. The information will be retained. So take the first few minutes to not only talk about what you're going to learn this week, today, but also to recap. Last week, this is what we did, the key points. So remember, students, this is what we said. These are the things I can remember. So students, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Very good. This is how it is. So under Gagne's retrieval, stimulating recall of prior learning. Okay, recall of prior learning. Important here. Okay, this is something I always practice with my students. Okay, what you're going to do this week, then last week, then after you relate lah. See students, last week what did we learn? This week this is what we do. See got link. See got link. More so if it is practical based. Engineering school, hospitality school, creative school, sure got link one. Hospitality school especially, last week's lesson can be the foundation of, let's say, stocks and sauces, stocks, brown stock, okay, and so on. So this week, we are going to do brown sauce. We are going to do mushroom sauce. We are going to do black pepper sauce. So you relate. Students, today, we are going to do sauces. So where does the sauce come from? You need the stock. Last week, we learned about stock, right? We need to boil the bones. We need to boil the meat, and then there is reduction. Then after that, you get that. That is the stock. That is the foundation. So today, we are going to use that to make sauce. The students, oh yeah, sir, I remembered. I also remember the formula. How much water, how much this and that. Relating. Okay, this is called relating. All right, so that is number 3. Recap. We so same lah, guys. First time you hear the song, you cannot remember. Second time you hear the song, 1 or 2 sentences you can remember. This is the 8th time you learn the song, you can remember the chorus, you're singing with them. This is the 88th time you're listening to the song, you can sing from first word all the way to the last word. Retention, repetition. Okay. I am one idiot. I used to watch Star Wars. I love Star Wars, the 1977. Star Wars itself, the New Hope. I watched it so many times. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, since I was young. Last time, where got Netflix, okay? Only thing you can is to watch the same video cassette over and over and over again until I can remember the script, What does R2-D2 say? C-3PO, what are the things that he say? Luke Skywalker. Seriously, why? Because when you watch it so much, really, retention. So my mom always say, see, study the one. This kind of thing you can remember very well. Study, ask you to study, read books straight away, sleep. Itu macam lah. Last time during when I was young, when Star Wars was launched, whoa, that was like the movie, you know. And then when video cassettes, VHS, we buy the VHS, go Pasar Malam used to buy, last time 10 ringgit, watch Star Wars, continue watching, you know, non-stop. Itu macam lah. So this is what it is, retention. Okay. Number 4, see? Number 4, I taruh one, not under GAGNI, lemai. Suggested for those who are new to online teaching, for those of you who are new staff or whatever, new people, new who are to this, to have a colleague to observe the lecture and give immediate feedback if needed. Always have a colleague. For me, it is Hazim. Sometimes Hazim is with us inside here. You know why? If I am too fast or sometimes when I'm talking and I forgot to unmute myself, our friend will write me a message, "Hey, you are muted lah." Because sometimes I may be going on so enthusiastic, students don't tell me, but I'm actually muted. Students also happy lah, okay lah, no need to hear. So this is called feedback. Okay, so it's important, especially when you're new to technology, you're new to all of this, have a person in there to give us feedback or to tell us if there's anything wrong. Not wrong, this is actually good. And sometimes when you're doing online, you get enthusiastic, excited, you go too fast. That person, that senior lecturer or a colleague, the word senior lecturer doesn't mean position senior lecturer, it could be a colleague. Okay, I can get, hey, Cindy, can you come into my class? You know, then give me feedback. Because I know she is strong in pedagogy, so she can give me feedback. You may want to emphasize on this at that level of students. You're talking to certificate students. Don't use words that even lecturers don't understand. You know, it's good feedback. Good feedback. The majority of the students won't tell you one. So you have that friend, that colleague to sit in and to give you feedback so that you know where you're going. So I put this in. This is very important. Okay. So sometimes the video or audio becomes choppy. Okay. Poor bandwidth. Lecturer may be too fast and so on. So it's good to have our friends in there or our colleagues to assist us. Number 4. Okay. So number 5, the one that I put here, present in an effective manner, pacing and get feedback after every lesson packet is completed. All right, get feedback after every lesson is completed. So 2 to 3 points or 20 to 30 minutes of lecture, every packet, remember every packet roughly on 30 minutes, then get feedback. Okay, for feedback, don't just ask, do you understand? Yes, but for you guys can lah, you guys memang different audience ma, but to be more focused. John, can you explain something? You may want to focus. Or you can use Kahoot or other kinds of technology and tools to evaluate, which I would like to totally emphasize. Please use the available applications to do this. Okay. Every time you finish one packet, gauge the knowledge. Gauge really, then you know roughly they understand. You can prepare the questions. Can be 3 simple questions. Yes, no, you know, or whatever. 3 theoretical questions there, then you want to see their understanding. So if you know it is high, you go on to the next packet and so on. And it also gives you confidence because you know you're doing the right job. You're doing it correct. Okay? And for me, I always practice this. I always ask the questions before I identify who to answer. Okay? So I can say, please describe the 4 principles of effective event planning. Okay, question. Then I will say, Sally, answer. If you say Sally, like you see here, John, can you explain? I mean, I just put that as an example. Other people won't think because they know, Mr. Gabriel asking John only. So I am Sally, I no need to think. Phew! But if you ask the question, then only you pinpoint, then everybody will pay attention and will think. I have emphasized this in many of my trainings before already. Okay, so based on GAGNIS, presenting the stimulus, selective perception. Okay, so this is similar to what GAGNI is saying over there. Number 6, use examples, case studies, graphics, storytelling, or analogies. Okay, I always use examples. This is example, and we use examples that's related to the student that they understand. All right. So similar to what GAGNI is saying, providing learning guidance. okay, semantic encoding. So we use things which are related to the audience. The audience can relate. Oh, I understand. Oh, this is what it is. Oh, this is how it is. Oh, then it's easy. I give you an example. When I used to teach tourism, international tourism also. So during the teaching, I teach this thing called dark tourism. One of the topics called dark tourism. Dark tourism is where we visit sites that are scourged by war and suffering. If you go over to Vietnam, due to the Vietnam War, or some would call it the American War, we have the Chu Chi tunnels, I don't know how you pronounce it, where it's actually tunnels where the Vietnamese hit and then they fought the war lah. So these are called dark tourism destinations. Okay, there are many places like this lah. Okay, so when I was using that as an example, and I use, for example, Vietnam, I was explaining Vietnam, students don't relate, huh? Vietnam got war. They don't learn. You see now, so I'm using Vietnam War because that was my history. That was us. Many of you would know. Some of you who do not know, maybe you're very young. But so when we use examples, it's important for us to relate to the students. So I think, oh, if Vietnam War cannot, maybe I should use something a little bit more closer to their years. September 11, the scourge of September 11, where the site itself is now a memorial. All right, so that can be related as dark tourism also, where a particular destination or site that was scourged by suffering, war, or natural disasters at the end of the day is now an attraction. Okay, so relation to the students is very important. Very important. So even when we use examples in class, music, for example, if I use ABBA songs, students won't understand. For them, they do not know who's ABBA. Hey, you all know who's ABBA or not? ABBA. Or haven't heard before? How many of you have not heard of ABBA before? Intan, belum Belum dengar? Dah. Beetle. All right, Beetle. She's trying to say Beetle. Not Beetle lah. How many of you have not heard of ABBA? So no news means you heard because ask yourself lah, what is your age? No lah, I think Shalini hasn't heard before. Shalini, you heard before? This is a young lady, this one. Got right? My dad. Oh my God, my dad. Okay, I have. Okay. Just joking with you, Shalini. It tells you that you are young. Okay. Carpenters? Oh, even better. Oh, carpenters. Exactly. You guys are correct. You see not? I just use ABBA over here. Some is like maybe my older generation, my colleague, my friends, and so on. So when we use examples in class also, guys, yes, I prefer. I'm an 80s guy. See, you know, ABBA is 70s and 80s, so it was like totally different. So this is what it means, guys, on number 6 here. So when we use case studies, graphics, storytelling, analogies, or whatever as examples, it's good to relate to the student itself. Use those that in a way students can relate to. Now, those of you who are teaching students like diploma students, many of your students now, I say nearly all, are born after 2000. Some of them may be even born after September 11. Okay, so you may think about it. September 11 is so vivid in many of our minds. I still remember I was pumping petrol and I heard about it. Okay, during that time, DJ campus, I still remember I was pumping petrol in what do you call that? Petronas outside our DJ campus. Then every morning I buy papers one, pump petrol, but suddenly, okay, because what happened was it actually impacted us in the night or something like that, which I didn't see. So many of our students were not even born when that happened. It was after that. So we need to also to relate to them. If not, they cannot relate. They don't understand. All right, what is the significance of that particular happening? Okay, so that is what it is. Okay, guys. Face-to-face delivery is critical. Right? Oops, ini number sudah lari sikit. Okay, face-to-face delivery is critical. Lecturer must have video shown, not just to conduct with audio, basic theory of learning. Okay, that's why I'm always on TikTok. Got to be current. Ini mesti Jehan yang answer punya. Yes, TikTok. Good. Which sometimes I find that in our discussion, sometimes in our meeting, they say, hey guys, your stuff should be in Facebook, TikTok, and so on, because that is how you get your presence. Ayo, TikTok, I don't know how to do TikTok lah. So sometimes for us, we more senior, I'm not saying I'm very old, I'm actually not. But for those of you who know, I listen to ABBA and Star Wars, so you should know my age. I need to do, is something which I need to go to for me to be relevant in this industry, for me to be relevant in this role that I'm playing. So now I need to learn TikTok itself. Okay, so the barrier for me needs to be also breached. I need to break that. So one day, Jehan, I will knock on your door. You please teach me how to do this. Okay. Now, so as you can see, my next example over there, my next point over there is basic theory of learning. We lecturers, we facilitators must always switch on our video. Must. Okay? Must. Okay, so the basic theory of learning, more sensors used, the more effective learning becomes, because your students want to see us. Students want to see us also. So we have to make sure that it is switched on. Okay. Yeah, see, you can see me. Okay, good. Actually, today my backdrop, I wanted to choose the UOW blue backdrop. That's why I wore white. Because the blue, for those of you who know what I'm talking about, the blue backdrop that we have is very blue, the blue color. So basically, white will stand out. White over blue looks nice. Okay, but then when I put it up, it's a bit blurry. So I changed the backdrop so to this white. So technically, what I am doing now, the backdrop that I have may not be the best backdrop for what I am wearing. Okay, so because it blends in. If the back is totally white, it could be even worse. All right, so white shirt, white, total blend in. Okay. Then formative feedback, the next point over here is to give formative feedback to our student continuously. Formative feedback. Now, formative means feedback to them for the betterment of their learning. So we give them formative feedback. Okay, so here is to use Kahoot, Quizlet, Poll Everywhere, or so on. These are certain examples. See, I am a bit biased. I point here to Quizlet. Why? Because currently I find it is one of the most effective. The only problem is everything needs to be paid, which is not a problem. That is how the business and that is normal business. Nothing comes for free. Okay, so but they still do give a certain free usage, but there are certain limitations. Okay, so based on Gagnes, it will be eliciting performance. You want to get performance or responding from the student, and also providing feedback. We need to understand get their performance, which you need to know their understanding. Every packet finish, get performance feedback. Do you understand? Do you understand? Then after that, we reinforce. We reinforce back to them. So we provide feedback. Well done. Or you are not correct. Say, good answer, a good try. However, not accurate the answer. It should be like this. It could be like this. You should look at areas like this. You give feedback to the student. Giving feedback to the student, understanding immediately in the class will benefit everybody. That is also why it is important for us to give immediate feedback. Okay, everybody will benefit. So for those people who do not want to ask, okay, at the end of the day, they have a question, but they dare not ask. The friend asks, so they will also learn. So that is what it is. Okay, similar. Number 8, or should be number 9. Okay, close the loop. It's a loop. Every lesson is a loop. Starting, introduction, what are the lesson learning outcome? What did you learn last week? How did it link together? Then you will do every single packet. Every packet you do feedback. Every packet you do feedback. Every packet you do feedback. Then now you need to close the loop. You finish already, you close the loop, one circle. Review lesson of the day and emphasize on the must know. So ladies and gentlemen, today this is what we covered. These are the must know. Must know means are the critical theories that the student must take back. Always remember this, ladies and gentlemen. Students come to your class, they pay attention in your class, they know the must know, they go back, they don't study, they will pass exam. They should pass their exam. They know the theory. Pass only, pass 2.0, C. They go back, they do revision, they are a C plus or B minus. They read the textbook, they are a B. They read other books and further reading, this is an A student. If student pay attention in class and just regurgitate theory and get A, something is wrong. Okay, so basically there must be a differentiating factor. All right, learning is such that if they know the understand, a pass student means what does a pass mean? Student get 2.0, that means competent, you know. 2.0 means competent. Competent means they know the theory lah. They know only, but they're not an A student. A student means the differentiation from the men from the boys. That is what they say lah, you know, or from the ladies to the women and the ladies, just to be not gender biased. Okay, that means those who really work for it will get an A. All right, those who really work for it will get an A over there. Whereas those who just pay attention in class will just pass. So when you close the loop, are you here to give everybody, okay, this is the extra books? No, you are here to make sure that everybody has the basic knowledge. So when you close the loop, make sure you emphasize on the must know. These are the key must knows. These are the key must knows. So student, go back, do your revision, read your textbook. I've already given you the foundation, the fundamentals, but you read your textbook, and these are the additional readings. You want to better yourself, read these articles that I found out. That is your role. Cikgu, 老师, teachers, sifus, that is your role. Your role is to make sure students know the must knows. Any additional you encourage, you don't force. You encourage students. You want to do well, right? You want to A, you read more lah. You read the articles over here. You read these additional things. You read this book. You guide them. You guide. Then it is them themselves, how hardworking they are to want to achieve that. For those who do the additional reading and can demonstrate to you more in the exam or in the assignment, that is where they get the B, B plus, A minus, A. Example lah. They can prove to you, sir, I understand your lecture. Not only that, I did more work, and I'm proving to you that I did more work. And I understand this from a different angle. That is why I get a B plus. That is why I get the A. Itulah learning. Itulah education. Okay, important. Now, so is introduce to them what will be taught in the next lesson. So after that, you introduce to them, next lesson, this is what you're going to learn. This chapter, we do this. Next one is we're going to do that. See how it relates? See how it relates? So student can look forward to. It's like a post scene lah. Sometimes when we watch those Marvel Universe movies like Avengers, Spider-Man, and so on, you know, why do we squat in the cinema after everything has gone and you need to pee bad, but you still wait inside there? Why? Freezing inside the cinema because you're waiting for the post scene. You want to know what's going to, you know, that post scene is in anticipation. And after you watch the post scene already, then people will talk about it. Hey, next one, Captain America is going to come back as a what? And then this and this and then, you know, these are called post scenes. The anticipation that's been built up. So when we do our lesson, it is the same. Upon completing, you want to give students the post scene. Guys, next week, we're going to talk about this, you know. And that we're going to talk about is related to what we just did. What we just did was this. This is what we're going to talk about next week. Look at the relation. So this is where we are heading towards to. So student has anticipation. Okay. They want to learn. They want to understand. This is what we hope lah. Okay. Now, which is true. For those of you who do go and watch, go to cinemas or cineplexes, you know how cold they are, right? And sometimes when the movie finishes, you just want to run out, you know. But because of the post scene, you're just like holding, you know, gripping, clenching your teeth, you know, and just like, come on, where's the post scene? And then you see the what do you call that? The acknowledgement of the things slowly going up. So slow that it's like hypnotic to you, and you're like, come on. Okay, you know what I'm saying. For those of you who do go to cinemas and have experienced the same thing, all right? So create an environment where students will be able to. So that those are the key. Okay, number 8 there already. You want to create an environment where students will be able to keep in contact with you. All right. An environment that at the end of the day, if student got any questions, they know that you are there. They know that you are there. So it is important for us, not saying that you give them your personal number and what. Now, Previously, in my classes, I will tell students, if you have any questions, you can come to see me in the office anytime, knock on the door, I'm free, I'll speak to you. Write me an email, I will answer you. However, you can draw the line. However, write your time. I will reply you on weekdays until 6 p.m. If your email comes after that, or then please wait until Monday. It doesn't mean weekend. Now, I'm telling you, I'm not saying you don't do. You can do if you want. No issue. But you are not obliged to answer emails 24/7 from students. No. You draw the line. You draw the line. We are already very good now with emails and so on. I still remember previously when I was in the university, my lecturer, if you want to see him, his consultation time, 1 week, 1 hour. So it's 1 week, 1 hour, 10 o'clock. And last time, where got email when I'm talking in the 90s? 1 week, 1 hour, you know. And sometimes you run to his room, 10 o'clock to 11, you reach there at 9:55. So proud of yourself. Oh, 9:55, I go there, I'm early. Queue got 15 people already. So you're, oh my God. Now we have emails. Okay. Now, so yes, what I say. What Jihan is saying, yes, you must set the ground rules in class. You must set the ground rules. Okay. Now, individual school agreement or whatever, how you all, your head of school decide is up to you all. All right, it's up to you all, up to your school. But that is normal practice that you all can decide. Okay. Okay. I told them I am not 7-Eleven, but still they don't care. The MIA students never get your ground rules. Yeah. Some send to wrong email, but insist that email was CE. I like, yes, send to wrong email. So that is why, guys, I give you all good news. Good news. Good news. You know, from May onwards, now scheme of work, all no need already, right? Now got new document, all right, the syllabus, all right, the teaching guide that is given to all students. Inside there will actually tell what are the, I have a lot, all right? Inside there will actually tell what is required, everything, how to contact lecturer and so on. Now, I shall not talk so much about this because I believe that your head of school will actually communicate with you. Yeah, that's new, Susie. You are correct. For the future, from SOB and SOE, no, across the board, everybody will. There is new guidelines that has already been approved by the Senate, which Melissa has already sent to all the heads, and it is already documented. Yes, from May 2022 onwards, you are correct. Now, so there is, you look at the documents inside there, the initial stage may be a little bit more work to fill up, but everything comes on table 4, just to tell you, everything nearly comes on table 4, all the information you got. And then under contact there, very clear, lecturer's contact, Cheong Xin Yi, email address, tap. Make sure you don't key in your email wrongly lah. So if student still cannot get you because they put in wrong email, then you say, hey, this is document given to you. You can't, if you cannot find my email correctly, then it is not the lecturer's fault lah. Okay, so this is how it is now. Okay, very important. Okay. Previously, when I was in hospitality school, my doors are always open. Students would just knock, sir, you okay? Okay, come in, sit. King, let's talk. Because students need to feel that there's somebody there to refer if there is any challenges or issues. Okay, that is what it is. And that comfort that they feel, the comfort, I know that Miss Chong will be there. I know that Miss Jehan, in case I got any questions, she'll be there. It actually works wonders for their confidence. You mustn't forget, students are worried. Okay, majority of our students really care for their studies. I say majority. I'm not saying all, I say majority. And finally, number 9. Okay, number 9, get this one. Enhancing retention and transfer. All right, generalize. So what we want is we want to enhance retention and transfer to the student. All right, we want to enhance retention and transfer to the student. So as I say lah, we try to practice tell, show, do, apply lah. Tell, show, do, apply. So if you look at it in the instruction, we as the cikgu, we normally do the tell and show lah. we tell and show, then we get the learner or the students to do and apply. Once they do with you and then they can apply for the future, that is the highest learning, highest level of learning. So they are able to apply. Now, that is why I am a strong proponent of flipped classroom. Flipped classroom, flipped classroom is where we get the students to come in and teach a particular area or topic or section of a topic. That is called flip. Okay, you get students to do. Now, why? It's always been known, if you can teach, is the highest level of understanding, if you can teach. Okay, now, students at the initial stage will always reject. Sir, why am I doing the teaching? I come here, I pay money, I want to learn. But when students rationalize that what level of learning they can actually get from this flip itself, they will know that it is very powerful. Because when students read and they understand, then they are able to communicate this to their colleagues. It shows that they understand and they're able to teach and rationalize with their colleagues. So what is important in flipped classroom, guys, for those of you who want to practice, is give them limited resources. Limited resources means you cannot say, all right, you're going to do this part of the chapter, I give you 2 hours. Cannot. 2 hours, they will read everything from the textbook. You give them 15 minutes next week, group B, you're supposed to do this part of chapter 3, for example. You're supposed to do this. 15 minutes. Now, why do I say you must stress on resource? Time is a resource. If resource is not a condition, then students will put any crap in. There is no requirement for application. They don't apply their knowledge. If you give them 15 minutes, students will need to apply understanding to select important concepts so that it will meet in that 15 minutes. Like I always tell my colleagues, it's easy to buy apples, but it's difficult to buy good quality apples. If your mother asks you, hey, Gabe, go and buy apples, I will just walk to the shop. Any apple, take 5, put it inside the bag and come back, good or bad. No requirement for me to do selection. No application of knowledge. If my mother tells me, God bless her soul, Gabe, go and buy half a dozen good quality apples or sweet apples or something like that. She gives me a condition. When I go to the shop, I need to do selection. I need to look at every single apple and I need to select. For me to select, what do I need to have? What do I need to have, guys? Before you can select, what do you need to have? Come on. Before you can apply, you need to have Bloom's taxonomy. Before application, you need to have yay, knowledge, Shalini. A. All right, you need to have knowledge. Yes, you need to have knowledge. So if you ask me to buy apples or buy good quality sweet apples, I need to have knowledge, you know. So when I go to the shop there, I need to be able to see condition that will make it good. What are the condition? Maybe skin color, maybe smoothness, maybe sound, I don't know lah. Example lah. Imported or local? No. Maybe, okay. So all of these are condition and that is important. Okay, so when you do flip, it's the same. You give them limited resources, time, 15 minutes. So students need to select important information that is relevant for this particular area. Once they select, it shows knowledge. You see, this is called the selection process. That is why sometimes I'm like an idiot. I like melons, like honeydew, watermelon, but even though a hospitality person, my failure rate of purchasing is very, very high. Every time I go down to Tesco or whatever, we always hear, I got a chef over here, Intan, betul ke? You take the honeydew, you hit. If it is very empty sound, tung, 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 means it is good. You see? So we always, you see me smelling, see got that honey, that sweet smell, no idea. Okay, she's a pastry chef. So we smell the honeydew, oh, got smell. Then we hit, tung, tung, macam pandai saja. People looking at you, wow, like you are some seafood. Go back, cut, horrible taste. All right? So I got no knowledge. I see very green. Hello, honeydew green means no good, Jehan. I think you've been buying the wrong kind of fruit. Okay. Oh, no wonder her failure rate of honeydew purchase is very high. So I have mastered buying mango. Mango, I've learned since young. Because mango, even though it's green, but if it is a little bit soft, it is okay already. And mango in the supermarket, because of the temperature, it ripes slower. So when you bring home, you may find it's still hard. When you bring home, you buy half a dozen. After 2 days, soft already. So you need to strategize. If you want to eat one today, you buy a bit soft. Then the other two, you want to eat the next few days, you buy a bit hard. So it will ripe as the time goes down. This is called knowledge. I dare say I got knowledge of buying mango, but I got no knowledge of buying honeydew and watermelon. So this is enhancing retention. Understand, guys? I give you the simplest example, choosing fruits. Like many of us, when we buy fish, also the same. Parents say you check the eyes. What are you checking for? Whether you got eye or not at the fish. You want to see whether it is glazy, whether it's firm, and then you touch the scale. If it is sticky, it's no good, not fresh already. Macam lah kita tahu. These are all the petua that we hear from our mothers and so on. But this is learning, knowledge, and then we apply the knowledge, application of knowledge. Boleh guys? Boleh So this week, all of you got homework. Go and buy honeydew. How many of you can report back to say it was successful? Then once you can do it, teach us what were the fundamentals that you went through to ensure the success. Then we will follow. Okay. Okay, so that is during. Suzy, okay. Yes, please teach me. Never ask the worker. I cannot cheated enough times already. MBG, money back guarantee, is a fruit shop. MBG, you heard MBG, something like that, I can't remember. So I asked them, bang, ini manis ke? Manis, ini baik punya, kita semua baik punya. Buy, go back. Bagi kucing pun tak makan. Okay. Senyum manja. That one I cannot lah, that one. Jehan you can lah, but that one senyum manja doesn't work for us lah. Okay, now, third stage. Following guys, can I go on? Can I go on? Do you need a break? Boleh. So part 1 sudah siap? Can. Part 2 sudah siap? Okay. So you see part 2 I follow Gagny's 9 levels Okay. And then now we look at part 3. Okay, part 3. Part 3 is post delivery. Post, selepas. So you may think, selepas pun ada kerja ke? Ada. It doesn't just stop there and then finish already, still need to continue. What do we do post delivery? Okay. Now, reflect on the effective versus non-effective methods. This one you kena buat. You need to reflect. Can or not? Today I did my class. After I do assessment, only 50% students understand, something is wrong. So you reflect. What was effective? What was not effective? Okay. Change if not effective. Improve if it currently works. So if it is not effective that you do a particular stunt or a particular method, it didn't work. Don't start crying. No problem one. No problem. In the future, you change. Because no one method can use for all classes. No one method can use for all classes. Certain methods, this class effective, good. Certain methods, this class not effective, cannot. So you may want to evolve, change the method. Not effective, change. If it is currently good, this method sudah baik, you may want to improve. How can I further improve on it? What kind of videos I can furtherly enhance over it? Maintain it and improve on it. This is what it is. 2, review on the less involved students. It could be due to lack of conducive technology available to them. Look at the group. Like now, honestly, when I look at the group over here, there are some that are very active in answering questions. As learning, I have Jehan, I have Stephanie, I have Intan, and then example like Suzy and so on. So these people already cue to me, that I am there. I'm just going to use as an example. I'm not saying she's not there. But Hannah Lisa is a little bit quiet. Why? Could it be that Hannah's email, or suddenly she replied, jahat lah dia. Aku nak example lo ni, dia sudah reply sekarang. Okay, I know you're there, no problem. I say example. Could it be that maybe, let's say she is my student, I see her name there, but she's very quiet. Could it be maybe their internet no good? Okay, so this is the review that we as teachers will need to cover. Could it be due to lack of conducive technology available to them? Could it be that there is certain things hindering that particular student? See, so you want to investigate. So what do you do is this, after reviewing the class, the certain ones are a little bit more quiet, okay? Maybe my Penang friends have been very active earlier on, they already answered, okay? But maybe at the second half, they're a little bit more quiet. Then I may want to check back with them after class. I may want to say, hey, Wendy, the second part, you were a little bit quiet, example. Was there anything wrong? Was the internet still good? Was something like that, you know? They may give feedback. Oh, Gabe, no lah. Actually, halfway through, suddenly it broke off. Over in the campus got some problem or something like that. Oh, at least you know. At least you know. So you may want to. Or she may say, during the video is okay, but every time you ask us to go and click the link on the quiz, I cannot go in. Then you know. Maybe in their area, the bandwidth impact that does not allow them to continue doing all the Quizlet or Kahoot or so on. So this is what it means, review. All right, you review on it. Okay, and so this is basically what you do. Okay, so the final part, you see, today we all take 2 jam saja macam satu lecture. So as a recap, ladies and gentlemen, as a recap, what we have gone through, okay, in today's session is 3 things lah. So when we talk about pre-delivery, it is important for us to understand that there are those 13 aspects that we should look into, all right, on pre-delivery. What do we do before we have the class itself? For me, I always believe a strong pre-delivery will reduce anxiety during and post. Pre-delivery is very important. Okay, so once pre-delivery is done, understand key concepts that you can practice in pre-delivery, like putting into packets and ensuring that your activity that you do meets the learning outcome that you want to achieve, the learning outcome that you want to achieve itself. Okay, so that is very important. Then we have during the delivery, you will see as you will receive the notes, you will find that those in black were what I actually wrote, and then I relate it to Gagney's 9 levels of learning, and it comes out beautifully similar, nearly the same. So basically, all of us in practice, when I wrote it down, it was based on my practice versus Gagney, it actually relates beautifully. Okay, same to you. Many of you are already practicing it, but it's good for us to reflect on what we are doing and see whether can we further improve. And finally, it is post, closing the loop, review and innovate implementation. All right, you review what you have done and you want to innovate. What is good, you maintain, further do it, improve. What is not so good, you change. Don't worry if it is not so good. It is normal. Not so good is normal. All right. Even though I've been teaching for donkey years, at times when I go in and I do, it is not effective also, you know. Okay. Sometimes every time every time when I go into my class, the first lesson is my most anxious lesson because I need to know what the students are thinking. After the first lesson, I immediately get feedback. Hey guys, are you guys all right with my style? Do you have any challenges? Sometimes students will say, sir, very good, no problem. Sometimes say, sir, you fast lah. And certain of these words we don't understand. Okay, so I get feedback. Okay, so that is the post, very important. Then it will then structure the way that you deliver and you design for that particular cohort of students. Every cohort is unique, all right? Every cohort is unique, all right? When you say very kanjiong Jehan, you're talking about in the first lesson, yes? Yeah, definitely. It is normal. That is human nature. You know why you're kanchiong? Because you care. If you don't care, if lecturers don't care, they won't be kanchiong. Why do I care? Whatever I do my 2-hour lecture, I finish up, I get my salary, cukup ah. Because you care, because you want students to learn. That's why you're kanchiong. Yes. Yeah. You know, people who are stressed teaching is because they care, you know. Yes, because you care. Because you want to make sure they get what is required for them in that particular topic. That is why you are concerned. That makes you anxious. Okay. So that is the recap. All right. So any questions, guys? I hope that you all followed. Okay. This session is to guide you all, to give you all tips on this practice itself. All right. Are you all good? Okay, good. So good. All right. I'm happy to hear that the feedback that I get, even it is written, it is that you're good. Okay. Please, come to a training you take. If you can implement, no need to implement everything, because normal all of us, we learn different kinds of theories. Whatever that you can improve, if it's one or two things you want to do, if it's just the packets that you want to do, if it's just flip that you take away from my today's lesson, I'm very happy already. Okay, take as much, use as much as possible to enhance your class. And always remember, I am there to give you guide. If you need assistance, yes, if you need assistance, give me a call. We can chat. You need me to walk into your class, you need me to observe your class, I'll be most happy to give you feedback. Okay, feel free. Okay, so we have achieved the LOs as what was earlier on stated. And thank you very much. It has been a pleasure for me to speak to all of you. It is a Good Friday, a good weather Friday itself, not the religious Good Friday. And Mr. Pickle, yes. And thank you very much. You are very energetic. Yes, I live on adrenaline. But now, you see me like that, this is already lower than how I used to be, I'm already in my late 40s, so it's already stamina sudah turun sikit already. Dulu even more enthusiastic. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Have a very good weekend, and see you all. Bye-bye.